Have you ever struggled with a boothmate during a remote session? I know I have. Overlapping speech due to poor handoffs are some of the major client complaints with remote simultaneous interpreting. Today on my presentation, I want to talk about these challenges and how we can enhance our collaboration skills to ensure better interpreting sessions and better outcomes for clients. So stretching your skills for effective remote collaboration, why flexibility and adaptability are key for this type of work, and especially in remote collaboration with other colleagues. So I'm Jennifer Nielsen, certified translator by the ATA. I also have a master's in T&I. I am a certified immigration interpreter, and I have been working for 7 years now in RSI. I started out actually with OPI, paired for telephone town hall events, and it was one of the most it's some of the most tricky work due to all the moving parts and the handoffs and not having visuals. So that's something that's helped me to shape and be ready for RSI once RSI became, well, basically exploded during the pandemic. So with this presentation, I wanted to share with you how I have enhanced my collaboration and adaptability in these settings. I asked one of my dearest colleagues when I was invited to give a talk about what I could talk about with interpreting, and she said, you should talk about collaborating and being a good booth mate for RSI assignments. So actually here is also a picture of me here in my office. This is the setup that I still currently have. I think I probably have some more clutter, but that is my gaming microphone, my laptop that I use. So there is that, where I am currently based out of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and Denver, Colorado. So I do mostly only RSI anymore. I really don't like to go in person anymore to get dressed up, put on shoes, high heels, go and park, drive. No thanks. So that's why I really enjoy doing remote interpreting, and I really enjoy getting to work with different colleagues. And so I'm going to share with you some of the best ways that I've learned to collaborate with a wide variety of colleagues, because everybody has their own working style, their own level of comfort with doing this type of work, and have had only experience with certain tools. So I think that there's generally 3 different types of ways that we can coordinate handoffs here. I think visually, there's people who want to have a visual of their boothmate. They want to have on video to see whether they're talking or not. There's others who can do it with only audio, right? That way you can hear, when the person stops talking. Or some of us can do it just on text and messages. And that to me takes kind of a higher level of coordination and expertise if after you've worked with somebody more than once. I think that that's, can work as well. But in general, like I said, we have to be adaptable. We have to be open to trying new ways. We have to try new programs, new, cues for handoffs. We have to be open to this with our colleagues. It helps us to give a better interpretation, obviously, in a client experience. And team dynamics, and improves, again, client satisfaction, because they don't have these issues, right? That's all they need to know, is that there's nobody talking over anybody in the interpreter channel, and that everything goes smoothly. So of course, obviously, with all types of communication, we need to be open and open up this dialogue about our preferred methods, show flexibility again, and then after that, we can maintain continuous feedback, so we can see what worked, what didn't, what we can do next time if we want to try something else. And so that's a big way to do that. So based on my experience, so I've had mostly positive experiences, but I've had a few times where things just absolutely did not go as I had expected. I've been able to adapt and learn from and work with such a wide variety of colleagues. But I came up with this list here when I was thinking of the times that things didn't go well, when there was a colleague who, unfortunately, she couldn't find any of the links. She joined all of the sessions like 40 minutes late. I think she was relying on maybe another person to help her set up her Zoom and get into a Zoom call. And it was the only time in all of this time working that I had to say that I could not work with this person, which is really, to me, the very last ditch option, right? We all want to be flexible and help others. And so I thought of these do's and don'ts that I think would have been that are very helpful in this situation and many others. So obviously, the first one is proactively reach out to your new booth mates, right? You want to, as soon as you know that you're going to have an assignment, or at least a couple of days before the assignment, reach out, right? That way you can show your friendliness, start to build rapport, and then discuss what your expectations are, what you like to do, and that way you can make a plan ahead of time by deciding on how you will coordinate handoffs and how you will communicate. What channels are you going to use? Are you going to use a separate back channel other than the interpreting platform, which I highly recommend? I don't think that it's it's not the easiest way to just use a Zoom or WebEx messaging for coordinating handoffs. Also, be specific, right? We don't want to just say every 20 minutes. I've also had colleagues who say, we're going to switch at noon, right? And then exactly at noon, in the middle of the sentence, they start speaking, which to me, I think is absolutely not the right way to do that, of course, because it breaks the whole thing in the middle of a sentence from the speaker, and is absolutely, distracting to the listeners, right? Well, you're going to miss something. It's just not the way to do it. You're going to be talking over. So I really recommend not to do that, right? You can say about every 20 minutes, about every 30 minutes, whatever it is that you decide with your partner, depending on how long the event is, how dense the event is, and how comfortable each person feels with how much time that they want to interpret for it. But so if you say every 20 minutes, then obviously you're going to, be watching and see when the 20 minutes have come up, and then wait until there is at least the end of a sentence, a natural break, a change in a slide, and then give the cue to switch. So that comes to my next point. Do monitor your communication channels and time while interpreting. I've had colleagues that just completely fall off the map. Obviously, we are really concentrating on interpreting, right? We're concentrating on what we're saying, concentrating on the interpretation. But with RSI, you absolutely have to be monitoring all of these other moving parts that include, and obviously want to make it as minimum as possible, and whatever is easiest for you to do it that way. But you absolutely have to be monitoring the communication channels and the time while you're working for effective collaboration. On the other hand, I do recommend using an online calendar. I personally use Google. If you use Apple or another online calendar, but I feel that for me, Google Calendar, if it's not on my Google Calendar, it doesn't exist. And it's helped me so much with RSI and making sure that I'm on time, have all my links in the right place. So most of my clients do use a Google Calendar system that has, again, like I say, you have all that, so that way you're not sifting through your email when you want to join the meeting, or if you get kicked out of the meeting for any reason, you're not searching all over for those links. And then do test those links ahead of time. Sometimes the links are wrong. Sometimes the links don't work. Sometimes you're not signed into your Zoom account. So there's a whole lot of things that it's really easy just to check those ahead of time. Now let's get to our don'ts. So what I think here is, again, I think it's really easy for us to take things personally sometimes when people are either supporting us with terminology, suggesting something that we're not familiar or comfortable with. Sometimes we can take that personally. So just don't take things personally. It's absolutely not personal. I know that as interpreters, and we all know that there are some out there that just have these enormous egos. And it's really easy to kind of fall in to thinking that you are doing things, there's only one way of doing things, and that you are doing things that your way or the highway. So yeah, don't take things personally. Um, and also don't delay in preparing. Again, like I said, don't wait until the last minute to check in with the client about links, preparation materials, presentations, seeing how just to have an idea of the client and what their level of comfort is with the platforms that they're using and using the interpretation platforms. A lot of times with RSI, there's a lot of client education involved. And so we have to obviously do that ahead of time. It's always good if especially if it's people who are, not comfortable, direct clients, you're going to want to have a prep meeting. Sorry, my dogs are over here. So next, don't resist trying new methods, channels, programs. Be open, give it a try. If it doesn't work, you can talk about that and not do it again. And the last one here, I think that sometimes we are tempted to give too much information to clients about our handoffs or about translation terms or how we should translate a certain thing, or just kind of behind the scenes processes and information between you and your boothmate that they just don't need to know. I think in general, it confuses them. So I like to give them, just as little information as the need to know basis, I think is really what I try to do there. I try to just make sure that I'm there, prepared, everything is taken care of, and that's all they need to know. So here are my preferred actual programs that I use. So I do recommend using a back channel. So that means having a separate channel other than the interpreting platform in order to communicate with your boothmate. So I think these are just really essential for voice, video, or message communications with your boothmate, coordinating handoffs, and being a supportive colleague in general, to be helping with whatever you need to communicate with. There's always something unexpected that comes up, and it's really great to have this separate channel to communicate. Because although Zoom, which is usually the most important platform, or most popular platform for RSI, you're going to want to, and that you can now in Zoom listen to the interpreting channel like you couldn't do before. I want to say that was a year or something ago that Zoom now allows that. But it's really hard to coordinate handoffs there. Of course, you can turn on your camera and see, to me, those are not the ideal. It's possible, but I don't think it's ideal, especially for longer assignments. And again, if you're chatting on their active chats, you can lose the chat with direct message with your boothmate. So I don't recommend that. Same thing with WebEx. You can use WebEx, but I really think that you need a separate back channel, which is what I use. I prefer WhatsApp. I'm sure Telegram would do the same. You can either do a regular voice call, you can do a video call, and I prefer to use it also on my desktop, especially on my computer, so that I have one less device to be monitoring, and you can send messages on your keyboard instead of being like this with your phone. And so the way I go to the next one, which is SMS, which to me it's suboptimal because you need the additional device and you have to be checking it and trying to write messages on it. So I don't agree with that. And then the golden option here, which is the most high-end option, is Simo Booth. This is a tailored for interpreter app that works parallel along with your other one, and it offers specialized tools for interpreters. If that's and it's a great option. It's definitely more of an investment, but it might be something worth it looking into. And so hardware, this is, we'll just go quickly through this. Of course, we need the proper headsets and headphones. This goes for all people using Zoom. This is always the interpreter's nightmare, right? Is poor audio due to people not having headsets or headphones, proper microphones. For video, I personally prefer to keep my video off. I always, and I still always feel strongly about this, that interpreters should be heard and not seen. We don't need to be on camera unless your clients request that specifically. I feel like I'm more comfortable being in the background and only being heard and not seen. So instead of that, but I also think it's really important to also set a professional Zoom photo. And that way, here is mine for, speaking of. So here's the one I have, right? You can have your name, a photo so that they can see what you look like. I think that's great. Your contact information in case anybody might enjoy your interpretation and want to reach out to you. I added the QR code because those are really handy, and you can add those with an email, to add a WhatsApp message, to visit your website, whatever you prefer. And then it's always important, and I check this usually the day before my assignments to make sure I have all my headphones on hand, my cables are, all my wires, everything is charged and ready to go. There's nothing worse than sitting down to do an assignment and realizing you have no battery on your phone, or you're missing your favorite headphones because your kids took them to play video games. So, and then again, be flexible and be supportive, right? There, like I said, so many things can go wrong, and everything that you can imagine, and so many things that you don't. Both with colleagues and clients, right? Everybody has a different level of comfort with these technologies, and it's important to, again, be kind and helpful without giving too much information. So again, just in general here, the key takeaways: adapt, again, adapt to your colleagues, adapt to the client needs and different platforms. There's just, again, so many moving parts that we just have to be agile and adapt. Also, be supportive, positive, reliable, and respectful. Those are the best ways that we can, get recommended and continue to give the best client service. Choose the suitable communication tools that you are most comfortable with and that you have decided upon with your partner. And always, of course, make sure that your equipment is reliable and your setup is comfortable, and embrace and share new ways of collaborating. If you are willing to try something new, you always should do that, and share the tools that you use with new colleagues. There's not any one right way to do any of this. So thanks so much for listening to my presentation. I would love to hear from you. I always love meeting new colleagues. If you want to receive a copy of this presentation or a guide on being an best RSI boothmate, please email me. And also, if you are a translator interested in official document translation, I would love for you to join me on May 23rd for a 90-minute workshop hosted by pros as well on AI-proof services and introduction to official document translation. This is a presentation that is for translators working into English who are interested in this type of work. So again, thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you.